we've been talking about Formula E Gen3 for forever now, and with the promise of lighter, faster, more powerful cars, the anticipation from teams, drivers and fans in terms of whether it'll improve the racing is high. But like any major regulation change, there's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes in order to get to this point. So I've come to Madrid for the launch of the Nissan Formula E car to find out what Nissan and partners like Shell have been doing behind the scenes to get ready for Gen 3. And here it is, the Nissan E-Force 4. Complete with Sakura livery, it will be the challenger that the all-new driver lineup of Norman Nato and Sasha Fenestraz hope will power them to victory. Now, if you haven't seen our previous video detailing the main differences between Gen 2 and Gen 3, here's a crash course on what's new. In short, a lot, both in terms of performance and sustainability. The main change that has everybody excited is the increase in speed and power, thanks to the addition of a second motor. A combined power output of 600 kilowatts, 350 kilowatts from the rear axle motor and 250 kilowatts from the front, will be able to generate speeds of over 200 miles an hour. But, given the street courses the series races on, reaching that top speed is probably unlikely. That said, the Gen 3 cars have been designed to be a lot smaller to better suit racing on street circuits. They're also 60 kilos lighter than its predecessors, largely through the removal of rear brakes and a smaller battery size. With no rear brakes, more than 40% of the car's energy will be produced by regenerative braking, an increase from 25% achieved by Gen 2 cars. The batteries will also be recycled at the end of their life service. We have a new tyre supplier in Hankook taking over from Michelin, with their new compound featuring natural rubber and recycled fibres, all contributing to Formula E's carbon-neutral target and sustainability push. So how much of a challenge have these new regulations been for the people behind the scenes?
The Gen 3 process is a long one because the promoter, FIO, the FIA and manufacturer want really to show what electric car can achieve now. And compared to Gen 2, it has been a big change in the rules, to make the car more efficient, as we say. So we will have a front motor to take all the energy for the braking. You know, a racing car's got a lot of braking energy, which make the brake disc very red when you saw on TV. So on this car, there will not be so much red because all the energy will go to the front motor and to the rear motor.
For me, it feels quite alien to let the car do the braking for you and not have that mechanical braking. But what's the benefit of that?
The benefit is to be able to have a smaller battery. You know, electric car is all about range, so about battery size. And this car, compared to Gen 2, has got somehow a smaller battery, but due to this regen power, which has been massively increased to Gen 2, we're still able to achieve the same performance, the same range.
And has there been any part of this project that was the biggest challenge from a technical perspective? What was the bit that maybe you had to spend the most sleepless nights on, or the bits that took the longest time? Was there anything, or was it just I guess a regulation change as a whole, where everything's changing?
Everything is brand new. I think none of the, except the steering wheel.
That's the only thing that's
the only thing, because it's mandatory. Everything is new on the car. So the main challenge was definitely, and I should say, at present with all the crises we know on semiconductor and so on, designing motor, inverter, procurement of parts, doing the validation and homologation was the first challenge. And I've been able to be today here with the car and tomorrow at Valencia for the pre-season test.
I can't wait to see this out on track in Valencia. So
yeah.
Thank you so much for showing me around, Mansell.
Thank you.
And it's not just the race team having to tackle the changes. Partners like Shell are also looking towards Valencia and the start of the season.
2022 was a really exciting year for us. There was a lot of development ongoing in the background on the Gen 3 powertrain, but also on the fluid concept. It is not only about the transmission fluid this time, it's also about thermal management. So actually, this year we have two products in the car. We have a thermal fluid, just thermally managing the electric motor and also the inverter. And we have a bespoke transmission fluid, really enhancing the efficiency of the Gen 3 powertrain. We had three main goals when developing these products. The first one was obviously efficiency. So we decreased the viscosity up to 39% versus the previous product in the transmission fluid, which is enabling much better fluid control and much lower friction in the powertrain, therefore enabling higher efficiency. The second one was durability and reliability. So obviously, if you lower viscosity, you want to make sure that the product still is able to protect all the gears and bearings and all the hardware in the car properly over the entire race. Yeah, you don't want to risk any failure.
Yeah.
And that was a really key criteria. So Nissan tested actually over 4,000 kilometers our fluid in their car, which is, I think, more than twice the whole season actually in terms of durability, very successfully. And the third thing was sustainability. Really important for us as well. So for example, the transmission fluid contains over 70% biodegradable products. Now the thermal fluid for thermal management contains our GTL base oil technology, which is a very clear base oil technology, which is really enabling direct contact with the thermal heat source.
So it's fair to say that the Gen 3 regulations have proven quite a challenge for everybody involved, and all of that hard work is going to get put to the test when this car hits the track in Valencia. Crunch time. And there are a lot of nervous-looking faces from everyone in Formula E ahead of the test. As with any major regulation change like this, reliability is always going to be a major concern. And limited running could be the difference between turning up to Mexico with a race-winning car or finding yourself on the back foot. Time to see what the hours of work invested in this regulation change has delivered. After the first runs, how do the drivers feel after their first session on track?
It's very different to, I experienced Gen 2 a little bit. I'm a rookie in Formula E, but I did some driving in the Gen 2 and I can definitely confirm it is very different. A lot more power, faster on the straights, but a little bit less grip with the new tires. It's being a bit tricky for everyone, but it's being very interesting so far. Learning a lot, of course, for my first ever official test here in Valencia.
Yesterday we had the first kind of training race, but nobody was really fighting. It's just about to see how everything is going. So I would say that after Mexico, I could answer this question better.
The core of the car, the philosophy of the car, with a strong focus on efficiency, on the energy management, stays the same. Is brought to a different level, but the philosophy of Formula E stays and is becoming a very important component of the sport.
What can fans expect from the new generation of racing in Formula E?
I do think it's going to be different. Of course, street circuits are very narrow. We have a car who is a little bit more narrow. It's less wide. So that's going to help, to race each other. We have finally open wheels again, like a normal Formula car. So I think the side-to-side bumps that we could see last year and a few seasons in Gen 2, they will happen, but maybe less, of course, because we know the risks of touching each other with the front, because we have also a front motor now. So the risk of damaging that is higher. So I think the fights on track will be very interesting to see.
Is the Nissan E-Force 4 feeling competitive?
As every team, the expectation is very high. You want to win, but at the moment it's too early to say what we'll be able to do. We are trying to develop the car as best as possible, and after I think 2 or 3 races, clearly you can say where you are compared to the others. But at the moment it's too early to say.
Soon in the season we start scoring some good results, but at the moment my target, my goal is just staying on track, not doing many mistakes, and taking experience and putting all together later in the season.
We both need to work together, because to develop the car as fast as possible, they need the input and the feedback from both drivers. So it's really important with Sasha that we share everything, and that's what we're doing.
The efficiency of the powertrain is becoming more and more important, and the level of vehicle efficiency in general is crucial to win races. And Shell supplying us with the e-fluids in the gearbox as a direct input on how high is the efficiency of the powertrain. Well, definitely we want to show that we are a serious contender. We want to go back to where we were before, and then after that to be to fight for the championship.